Being 9 o'clock, we'll call the meeting to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I need a motion to approve the agenda for today's meeting.
Move to approve the agenda.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Has everyone had a chance to read through the minutes?
Yep.
We have a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll motion to approve the minutes with just one correction. There's one spot in there that there was a sentence left out. Page 117, third from the bottom paragraph. There was a section that says HR director felt that the previous attempts to discuss certain matters that she has been dismissed and her phone calls have gone unanswered, and then after that it goes into something else. Right after that I had said that I had had no attempts been made to me in order to have phone calls or emails. Just want to have that in there just to clarify that I had mentioned that I had not received phone calls or emails, and that part wasn't in there, so I just want to make sure that's in there.
Any other discussion? Motion to approve? Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Do we have a second?
Do we not think we got a second?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I assumed that you
I thought
seconded
you were
with correction,
seconding it
yeah.
with,
Oh, I thought I made the motion.
no.
No, I made the motion.
Your,
Okay.
Yeah.
your motion with your amendment.
Sure.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Our first appointment is HR, and come forward, please, Anne.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Tess asked me to come in this morning on her behalf just to have some new hires approved. And I'm just going to skip past the public health one for right now. Go down to the next one, the Surveyor's Office and Highway Department. They would like to request the hire of Sam Stemper as a 67-day employee to fill in or to take the position of the summer helper. And he will work, I believe, 2 days a week at the Highway Department and the remaining days with the Surveyor's Office. And I believe he's starting June 1st.
Do we have a motion to approve the hire of Sam Stemper as a 67-day employee?
I so move.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
And next we have a couple of new hires for the Environmental Services Department, and these are 67-day job site supervisors. First of all, they would like to hire Ardell Olafson, and the second one is Matthew Schellschmidt.
I move to approve the hire of Ardell Olafson and Matthew Schellschmidt.
Is there a
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Did you want to talk about the next one? And then finally, I have the request to hire a public health intern. So I guess we'll let Mary talk about that a little bit.
Good morning. We had, for our summer intern, 3 applicants and ended up interviewing 2. The third candidate ended up taking another position for the summer. So we would like to hire for the summer intern, the 67-day at $12.15, I believe it is, an hour. Kayla Vitt, Kayla with a K, and Kayla is from Viterbo. She's a nursing student at Viterbo. She also has a degree in psychology from Gustavus. She's a returning student for nursing. I think she will be just awesome. We have a really lengthy list for the objectives and goals that we'd like to accomplish this summer, and all of those dollars come from primarily SHIP and a couple of the other smaller grants that we have to get the work done. So she's very excited to be offered the position. She would start June 2nd, and hopefully that will work out.
Do we have a motion to approve the hire of Kayla Vitt?
I'll make a motion to hire Kayla Vitt as our public health intern.
Second.
Any discussion? I think it's great. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
And I hope we'll see you this afternoon at the Board of Health meeting.
Right.
Yes.
Exciting agenda.
Yeah.
Good.
Okay, and I think Mark is, we're gonna come up here and talk about the safety issues that are on the agenda.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
As part of the Safety Committee, we recommended that the staff of Houston County, employees of Houston County, do a voluntary CPR AED training. Since there's AEDs throughout the building, I've had numerous people tell me so. We have them, but how do we use them? We would do a volunteer. We recommend that they take the class during the business hours, 2.5 to 3 hours of class, be paid for it for their normal job. But they would actually pay for the $30 as being a voluntary class attendant. Take the class. So they pay the $30 out of their pocket themselves, but take the class during business hours. And this would be put on by the County Ambulance Service. I'm a member of the service. We have several trainers, certified trainers with the ambulance service. We do training all the time. Sometime probably in July.
And we just want to make sure that the employees go through their department head to get it approved that way. But
Exactly.
otherwise, I think it sounds like a great.
It'd be a good idea. So I know there are AEDs, but I'm not even sure I could open the box to get one, much less run it.
And they go through all that, the CPR, the how to use the AED.
Mhm.
And so it's kind of a joint effort because it's the people paying for their own class and the
Mhm.
county offering to let them take it during their workday.
Business hours.
Do we have a motion to approve? This-
I'll make that a motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay. I'll coordinate it. I'll send out a group email with the information to all the employees of the county.
Sounds great. Thank you for
Voluntary
doing that.
base. If they can take it, they great. If they don't want it, accept it.
Yep.
So,
Yeah, that's wonderful.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Ann. Courtney, would you like to come forward? Would you like to introduce yourself and?
Good morning. My name is Courtney Virgin. I just started with the Houston County EDA. I'm a seated employee and I started about 6 weeks ago. I said,
Yes, absolutely.
yeah, I started about 6 weeks ago and I'm obviously taking over for my predecessor, Sam. I'm really excited to be here because I actually grew up in the area. I was raised near Lanesboro and went to school at North Central, went to college at Luther. And then after college, I worked at Lanesboro Arts in Lanesboro as the Director of Advancement, and I did grant writing and community and economic development projects for them. So I'm really excited to be here. And since I've been here, I've really just been just getting to know the communities in Houston County, the board members, the EDA board members, and the staff here have been super helpful and just introduced me to folks and given me tours of the towns, and I'm really, really enjoying that so far. I would love to meet with any of you, privately or publicly, to talk about some ideas that you might have, or some people or businesses you'd like me to connect with, because I'm really just trying to get as connected with folks as possible. We've had one EDA board meeting so far, and we're having our next week. And so far, I'm really just seeing, for my short time, I'm seeing some really exciting opportunities for collaboration between all of the communities in Houston County to do some more regional marketing and have kind of a collaborative effort for both tourism and workforce development. Those are things that I'm really working hard to try to do, because I've heard kind of the same things from a lot of the businesses that I've talked to, is that they want more people to come visit and they want more people to come work for them. So I'm working on that. We do have a couple just quick things in the hopper. We recently submitted a deed report for Crest Precast and McCrescent. They have some Minnesota Investment Fund financing. And so we finished up a report for them. And I am preparing for a court hearing at the end of this week for an EDA loan that's in default. So I'm working with the county attorney to prepare for that this week. And I'm also just connecting with several businesses that are currently looking to expand and are interested in some different assistance that the county can provide, but then also we can work in collaboration with the communities themselves. So if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them, but so far that's really all I have in these 6 weeks here.
She's doing a great job.
Sounds good.
Yes, she is.
Do you work with each of the cities in the county with their EDA people also?
I'm trying to meet all of them right now. I've had meetings with both, city municipality leaders. Some communities don't have EDA
Right.
leaders. So I've met with most of our board members' representative communities. So I'm still trying to reach out to some of the other EDA directors. I know I'm trying to get in touch with Terry from Crescent. He's their EDA director, and I'd like to sit down with him to talk about what we can do. But and I'm still trying to understand really what kind of relationship they want to have with the county, and how that works. But I'm really excited to work with them, and I hope that it will be a good relationship.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Any other questions, comments?
I'm on the Workforce Development Board for our joint counties, and one of the people from Houston County was talking about Spring Grove POP looking for additional funding. Have you heard anything about that?
I have had some meetings with him, but
Okay.
we're still trying to figure out all the details
Okay.
for his expansion and kind of what that would look like. And
Right.
yeah, there's a couple other businesses actually in Spring Grove that are also looking at expansion, so I've been busy there.
Okay.
But it's all really positive, I think.
Yes,
and
it
that's good
sounded-
to know because I actually just I met with Dallas from Workforce Development.
Okay, that's who
a
talked to
couple
me
weeks
about
ago. Okay, and I'm hoping to get in front of him again to talk about some other of the
Okay.
initiatives. Yeah.
Yeah, I was working with Dallas on that particular issue.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay. Good.
good.
Anything else?
Welcome.
Thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Travis, would you like to move up on the agenda?
Morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
Good morning.
This morning, I'm coming before you guys to get approval for the TCD grant running from October 1st, 2016 through September 30th of 2017. I'm also asking for a resolution approving the grant and naming Sheriff Mark England as an authorized signer. Just a little history. The numbers for that grant period have not been released yet, but from 2014 to 2015, Houston County received $12,050, and from 2015 to 2016, it was $10,300. So I would anticipate somewhere in there between $10,000 to $12,000 we can put towards extra enforcement to keep our roads safe in Houston County.
When do you find out the details? Or, right, is this more of an application at this point?
Yeah,
or
this is approval
To get
take part in the grant.
Is it matching funds at all, or just?
No. Well,
Okay.
there's certain things that are. For instance, in 2014, 2015, we received a PBT valued at $745, and that was a 50-50 match that we used some of the funding for.
Okay,
And then it also helps pay for conferences
okay.
and those types of things. But as far as the enforcement goes, no, that's covered. And then also it'd be a part of the resolution naming Houston County as the fiscal agent for all the other participating agencies in Houston County.
Okay.
Deputy Steve Garrett puts a lot of time into this, so he did most of the legwork on this one. I'm just presenting it to you guys.
Isn't this also a joint effort with public health?
Yes,
Okay.
it is. Yeah, Heather Myrie and Steve
Yeah.
Garrett did a lot of work to
Okay.
keep this thing going.
Do we have a motion to approve the applying for the grant and the resolution?
I'll make that a motion.
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Justin Conway, would you like to come forward? Thank you. Good morning.
sounded like it was draining out our wash area, and then our metal runoff was just draining out on the pavement. And in order to come into compliance, they said either we would have to plug the tank, and then basically have to get it back up in that system, or put in this holding tank and then repump that tank out. And as part of that, they went out and got a quote from Zinke Incorporated. You guys have a copy of that. It includes all the piping connections, wiring, and things like that at a value of $9,089.45. A whole lot of history on that site. So.
It's probably the existing drain system right now from a long time already.
Say that again.
It's an existing, it's been there forever. I don't remember them.
Yeah.
We've-
This is.
We've kind of known this was on the horizon too.
Yeah, and now the EPA's come in, kind of put the foot down and said, this can't happen anymore. Part of the issue is there too, we're in the MS4 district, so it's a little more stringent over there. So, obviously we want to stay in compliance.
I talked to Brian about this, and he mentioned that there was going to be an issue down there, especially since you're so close to the backwaters, and that was a big issue that
And I know it
maintaining
drains,
that.
you know, a lot of that site kind of drains right towards Pine Creek.
Right.
Really close to this.
So do we have a motion to approve?
I so move.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Consent agenda. Do we have a motion to put the items on the consent agenda on file?
Move to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Do we have anything coming up with the highway department building?
Nothing new from me.
Okay. How about if we approve claims, human services, and license center disbursements? Has everyone had a chance to look at them?
Not yet.
Okay, we'll move on. We have a list of the liquor licenses to approve. Did everyone get a chance to look at that?
Those are all routine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that looked good to me.
I make a motion to approve the liquor license.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Did you guys get a chance to look at the Money Creek Snowmobile Club maintenance and grooming application? We need a motion to approve that.
I'll move to approve.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, Mr. Trias is here, so we can come back to approve the claims in a little bit, but we'll invite him forward. Good morning.
Good morning. Madam Chair, members of the board, thank you very much for having me. My name is Thomas Trias, Wilmington Township resident and candidate, school board, Spring Grove School Board member and candidate for the Minnesota House of Representatives. So I wanted to introduce myself to the board officially today. I know most of you individually, but as a whole, I wanted to introduce myself and talk about where I think our state ought to be headed and our government ought to be headed, and then also get your questions and concerns put forward too as the campaign rolls around to the summer and the fall. There's a short time left, and things are really busy, but I want to get everyone's concerns. I've been speaking to city councils in hit almost every city in the district, Fillmore and Houston County, and I spoke to the Fillmore County Board, so now I'm here. So, lifetime resident of Wilmington Township, 5th generation down there. Very proud to have moved back to Houston County from attending college at the University of Minnesota and working in the United States Senate. And now I currently work for a construction company in Harmony, Minnesota. So that's a little background on myself, but the main reason why I'm running, I'm frustrated with the way things are going at the state level. And I think small towns, small school districts, farmers, small farmers are being left behind in the economy and in public policy in general, both at the state and federal levels, but especially at the state level. So when it comes to things like local government aid and county program aid, they haven't been keeping up with the general needs of the population. So what has happened over the last 10, 15 years is that local units of government have had to raise taxes. Property taxes have gone out of control. Just this past year, the legislature didn't do anything to increase local government aid or county program aid. Gave a little money to schools additionally, but still didn't meet all of our needs. And what happened was a $414 million tax increase across the state of Minnesota. That's all property tax increase, which I think is one of the most regressive taxes there is. So our representatives are going to come back and say, I didn't raise your taxes a single dime, but what did they do is that they didn't fund they didn't meet their responsibilities. So then we had to, or local governments across the state decided to raise levies. So that's a big problem. I think the state government in St. Paul is skirting their responsibilities. That's a perfect example of that is what happened on Sunday night when the legislature adjourned. They failed to pass a long-term transportation bill, which we are going to see a $6 billion deficit over the next 10 years in terms of just maintaining our roads and bridges. So if we continue to do nothing, 10 years from now we'll be $6 billion short. So who's going to pay for that? Are you going to continue to raise levies to pay for our roads and bridges and tax our folks out of the county? I don't want to see that. We need more young folks, young families, and folks on fixed incomes, seniors to stay here. We can't have them leaving. We already have declining enrollment in many school districts across this district, and that's affecting bottom lines of districts. So they didn't pass a long-term transportation bill. We were actually promised that. They didn't pass a bonding bill this year, which was their #1 responsibility. And every even year of the legislature, in 14, 16, 18, the legislature passes a bonding bill public infrastructure project that funds things like Lanesboro Dam, for example, down there that's in need of restoration. Funding MnSCU and University of Minnesota projects. The legislature failed to do that. And so that's essentially why I'm running, because they've skirted their responsibility, and I think our representative has as well. So those are just a couple of examples. There were some good pieces of things that came out of this past session, but overall there's so much more work that needs to be done. And I want to make sure our small towns and our small farms and our small schools can survive into the future and thrive. So that's why I'm here today, and I appreciate your questions, concerns, and take them as they come. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Everything that came out of the legislation that we were hoping would pass didn't. It was so disappointing to read all of that.
Yeah, we all got a report on that yesterday, what did not pass. And a lot of our problems is the state mandates, like child protection, but no money behind it, and yet you have to hire more people. And we're running into a lot of mandates that we have to fund. And that's, we need the money behind it. And they're working, I know one of the issues are a lot of towns are having problems with their water systems and will need replacing. Then small little counties can't afford to, or cities pay for that either, because it's millions of dollars there.
There are a number of water quality projects within the bonding bill that could have been easily funded, non-controversial projects that small counties, small towns couldn't afford that by themselves. Of course, they didn't do a compromise on a bonding bill. So I think that's an utter failure of responsibility there on the legislature's part. And we see that the unfunded mandates on all levels of government, at the school level too. It's easy to pass a policy that's maybe well-intended, but in implementation, it's to the contrary. It's may have negative consequences on the local unit of government.
Right.
So it helps when you are elected to the legislature with some local government experience, because you understand that. You know.
I've been trying to contact our present legislators, you know, about these bonding bills and how these counties, we need the extra funding so that we don't have to raise taxes. And the last reply I got was, well, it's a Democrat's fault. You know, that wasn't even an answer, you know. And that partisanship is what's really, they can't work together.
Yeah.
And they won't even try.
We do need to work together.
Yeah, yeah, and that's what we've seen, passing the blame on Democrats, Republicans for the last
Instead of
few.
working out something, yeah.
You know, when I was in Washington in the United States Senate, we had a government shutdown,
Yeah.
and we were all sent home. I got a 2 weeks unpaid vacation, and that was because it was simply a game. You know, someone wanted to run for president, and
See
he
who can
decided to
win,
do
yeah.
it. And we're seeing the same sort of stuff in St. Paul. You know, and we can't. And now folks are calling for a special session. Well,
I know.
you had 3 months to accomplish your job.
Right.
And so we're going to pay you to come back and do another special session and
I
get your
know.
job done. It's like, if you have a deadline, if a high school or student has to write a paper by Monday morning and they didn't get it done, and they say, well, teacher, you know, could you make an exemption for me? Could you just let me, give me a few more months and I'll finish it? No.
And yet they're being paid while they're in session and not
Exactly.
accomplishing anything.
Yeah. Any other questions, concerns?
Frustrating.
We're frustrated. Thank you for coming in, though. Appreciate
Yeah,
it.
thank you. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you, Thomas.
Yeah.
And when you get elected, please make it a thing to come and visit us every once in a while,
Yes, that's what
too.
I would like to do. It's taken a long time to get to every local, or I guess in almost every city, but I think a legislator should at least come once a year.
Yeah.
It's the least
Yes.
we could do, so.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, so everyone had a chance now to look at the claims, human services and license center disbursements. Do we have a motion to approve them?
Move to approve.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All in favor?
All right.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, commissioner reports. Commissioner Chomey, would
I
you
have nothing.
start?
Nothing this
Okay.
week.
Commissioner Walter?
The only thing I had this week that was, we met with the Boca Township for a public hearing on the turning back of Kryvik Road and Peterson Road back to the townships, and we'll have a full report on that in 2 weeks. I think we're on the agenda for that. It was a good meeting. We went on a tour of the roads and saw exactly what condition they were in, and it was a good public hearing. Only a couple of people attended, and it was all supportive.
Yeah, it was a very good meeting.
That's all I have.
Okay.
No meetings, couple of comment things, just setting the record straight, just make sure we get everything, our I's dotted, our T's crossed. Last week, I know during some of the discussion, Tess had mentioned, I know that she tried to contact me via phone and email, just wanted to set the record straight. I went back and looked at my call logs and my email lists, and I have not received a call or an email in the last month and a half. But I did find Linda Barr and Bethany Moen had emailed me and CC'd me on 4 emails that they had asked HR what documentation that they needed, anything that any other paperwork or anything they needed to get in, and there was 4 of those emails over the last month and a half. I was CC'd on them, but I was not part of the reply to the response. So I just wanted to set the record straight on that. Another thing quick, I noticed I had a couple people call me that the video has no volume on it from the last part of the meeting. So I don't know what's up with that.
I'd say redacted.
Well,
that was my assumption. I looked at it too.
Yeah, and that would be my assumption too, but usually redacted, you don't take the whole thing out, you just redact the certain portions of that. But because we approved the minutes today, there's going to be some conflicts because the minutes that we approved don't reflect the video any longer. So I don't know what's going on with that, but I had a lot of people call asking why they didn't have any audio to it. So I just said that I would bring that up. And obviously, the minutes that were approved obviously should be reflected in the video at some point, so that you don't have conflicting things. So, so anyway, we'll have to look into that, or let Andy know that that needs to be looked at.
Or goes with the attorney maybe, because he must have done it.
I have no idea who did what.
Well, we
or
got
what
that
happened,
email
but-
saying that he was reviewing it.
Yeah.
So
Well, I had some
I'm-
people that said that it was out on Friday with volume, and then it was taken down and put back up without. And then if there's things that need to be redacted, I understand those portions being redacted, but not an hour and a half discussion, everything being redacted. So that needs to be looked at. The other thing, real quick, we've got department head meeting today, but then we also have the Joint Board of Health. I know that we've got, I think everybody planning on attending the Joint Board of Health, I would assume. So I had been asked a couple of department heads that if we'd have just a board member present, and I said I could at least stay back. If you guys are going to go to the Joint Board of Health, we could have at least a representative, or Steve, I don't know if you want to stay too, or if you want to go to the Joint
No,
Board of
I was
Health.
planning on going to the joint board.
Sure, so that at least we have some representation at both meetings.
Mhm.
So just letting you know, and I'll talk to Mary after this too, and let her know that I'll at least stay back so we can report if anything goes on at the department head meeting or whatnot. So that is it.
Very good. I had no meetings.
I also went to the Hoka Township meeting, and then I had a CJC meeting, and we just discussed things going on at the courthouse. I also, I'd like to clarify something, because my understanding, as Tess was talking about it, is that in previous times you hadn't responded to her emails and calls. Not this last time. She said she didn't follow through because before she hadn't gotten responses. And that is fact, that in the past you haven't responded, because even when I called you and told you that she really needed to talk to you, you didn't return the call.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's what she was referring to, not this present time.
And I've returned every phone call. If she had called, I returned it. If there's an email, it was returned. So that's the problem. And that's why I went back and looked at all my emails, and I said, boy, there's been a response to all of them. There's been phone calls to all of them. In the last month and a half, there hasn't been anything. So that's where that's at. In fact is fact. I've got that, the calls, the emails, I got all that stuff logged. I went through all that stuff. So there's been communications both ways. There hasn't been the last month and a half. And that's the one that really concerns me, is the last month and a half.
Well, I think all
there's
of
a
it should
big
concern
issue.
you from the beginning to the end. If you're
Well,
on
there is.
personnel and the personnel director contacts you, you should respond to
But
them.
I do, Judy. That's what I'm saying. I'm getting criticized that people say, you don't do this.
Okay.
And I have. So that's what I'm saying, is everybody keeps lying about what this is to try and make me look bad. And I'm saying that there is no evidence of that. There's always been phone calls, emails, everything that has been replied to, emailed to, calls brought to. So I've always been kept in the loop. And if anybody's had any questions, I've always returned those promptly. The problem is, the issue that we were discussing last week was not communicated, regardless of what happened in the past. And that's the issue that I have, is
Okay.
whatever happened in the past.
It was my comment
why
time,
wasn't
and
here?
you already had yours, so
Well, that's
we're
fine,
gonna
but if
just
you're gonna
continue.
blame me for something and criticize, I get a chance to at least
I just was
represent
redirecting
myself.
how you were responding to someone else, so we're just gonna let it die.
Yep.
Is there anything else to come before the board? Okay, Department head Justin said he's going to, the Joint Board of Health, the rest of us will be attending. Do I have a motion to adjourn? And there's no meeting next week.
No board meeting next week, you mean?
No
No.
board
Nope.
meeting next
5
week.
this month.
Right.
Move to adjourn.
Second,
I'll second it.
all in favor?
Aye.
All in favor? Everybody's in
Aye.
favor?
Yeah.
Okay. Motion- Meeting adjourned.